What it is.
Well, it looks a bit like the yarrow.
Yes. So this is wild yarrow. If your leaf is dark green and less leaves on it, it's probably a cultivated.
I think that's what I have.
Yeah, mine's a cultivated too.
It still has benefits though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yarrow's Latin name is Achilles millefolium. So what's a millipede?
Like a centipede.
But why is it called millipede?
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet.
Right,
So
right.
millifoil, 1,000 leaves.
1,000
Foil is leaves. Okay. So the Latin name, it's one of the few Latin names that really does describe its look. Okay. This plant is one of the most important first aid plants. So I talk to a lot of ranchers and people like that. They're doing fencing and whatever. They need to know this plant. This is an amazing first aid plant. And it's because Achilles was, of course, the Greek part god, part human, who was a mighty soldier in the Battle of Troy, and he was invincible except for his Achilles tendon, right? So one of the stories goes, just smell that his mom dipped him in the oil of this plant, yarrow oil, and hung on to his Achilles tendon. The other stories goes that he was dipped in the river Styx or something, Frades or whatever it was, and he was invincible except for his Achilles tendon. This plant is a blood coagulant. So if somebody fell right now, cut their arm open, we're bleeding everywhere, we would get all these leaves, we would roll them up like that and squish them till the juice comes out, apply them to the bleeding wound, and within 5 minutes it would stop bleeding.
You would do that? Would you do that over wrapping it?
Yeah,
with
like
the cloth?
so I had 3 stitches on a finger on this hand, and they were worried about the scarring. Which finger was it?
I only see a scar right here.
Yeah, I was on a finger on this hand, 3 stitches to the bone,
No.
because I cut it on glass in my garden. So I took the yarrow, wrapped it up, put it on, got a Band-Aid, tightened it down, got in the car, went to the hospital. It had stopped bleeding before I got in the car.
Did you take the yarrow off before you went into?
No, I went in with Band-Aid and yarrow and all. They just kind of went. And the doctor's like, "What the hell is this?" And I said, "That's my healing plant." And anyway, they had me rinse it with saline and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, "Oh, I don't know, you might have a big scar and, 3 big stitches." I'm like, right, I think I'll be fine. Okay? So if you haven't, people get nosebleeds. Take that plant, roll the leaf up, plug it up your nose. If you get headaches, this takes the edge off a headache.
So you can...
If you
drinking the tea?
drink, you can either put it up your nose for headaches and nosebleed, and for tea, the leaf and the white flower, so further up we'll probably see some white flowers. The tea is really good for, it causes you to sweat. So one of the things it does is it moves the blood inside your body. So when you take it internally, so externally it coagulates the blood, internally it moves your blood around. Okay, so it also causes sweating. So if you have a fever and you want to break the fever, yarrow is really good. If you're having hot flashes, you have yarrow and raspberry leaf tea.
Out of the body.
Yeah.
I've been giving it. I'm making it for Sam when he has a fever.
Okay, yeah. If you have, I call it railway brain syndrome at night. You're like, right, and you're thinking yarrow tea, particularly the flower.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, okay.
That's good to know.
So you can garden it.
Yeah. Wait till you see my garden. The other
This is
thing,
growing in our yard.
yarrow in the
Really?
garden, when yarrow's growing in the garden, it'll actually be like, so for example, this fireweed and this raspberry leaf growing near the yarrow will actually exemplify the properties of the fireweed and the
What do you mean
raspberry.
exemplify?
So whatever, it puts something in the soil that will make this be doubly nutritious, or that'll make its chemical properties stronger. So it'll actually enhance the soil and the properties of the plants in your garden if yarrow is growing in your garden.
And this is number 1.
In my books, this is the #1 medicinal. That's not an edible so much. I mean, it's a medicinal. Yeah, it's the #1 medicinal.
Well, Sergey talks about it. And it's very...
The #1 edible actually grows closer to Edmonton. Doesn't grow
Another
here.
yarrow kind?
No, it's well, actually, no, that's not true. Wait a minute. No, I just had a blonde moment. No, we might see it on this ridge, actually, so I won't say it yet. We might see it on this
No
ridge.
names yet.
I like that. Because you tag it.
Do you ever use it as a tonic or just
Yarrow? Yeah, like last night I had yarrow tea. So
I find it quite bitter, the one that I have.
Yeah, that's why it's nice to mix it. So for me, at my stage of life, to mix it with raspberry leaf or even with fireweed leaf. But raspberry leaf with the yarrow. So I'm at the hot flash stage. So for me, it's a great tonic for, you know, probably 3 years. That'll be a nice tonic for me, right? Help with my hot flashes and menopausal transitions.
And is it best to pick it when it starts to flower?
So if you're after the flower, pick it right now, because that's when it's flowering in my yard. If you're after the leaf, when you pick it?
In
Early
the spring.
But,
Summer.
but
So
when I'm harvesting at home,
So
don't I harvest both together?
Well, yeah, but you can harvest some of the leaf first for
Oh,
a
okay.
medicinal, right? So for a blood coagulant or for tea or whatever,
okay.
you can harvest the leaf first. And then later when the flowers come, harvest the flowers.
So what do the flowers do then?
They're the ones for the railway brain.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, brain.
That's my new name. I just invented that today, railway brain.
Is that right?
I was
I'm trying to think of
wondering.
the other
Yeah,
word.
that's
Busy
good.
brain? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
monkey
railway
brain.
Monkey brain, yeah.
Railway
Ego.
brain is
Ego
disguising
brain.
Yeah.
So,
What am I going to do tomorrow?
no, what did I do?
What didn't I do right today?
Yeah. So you said it's not so much edible.
Medicinal. More medicinal.
What do you mean by that? You can't eat it?
Well,
or you-
yeah, it's not an eating one. It's a tea.
You don't eat it.
It's a tea. It's an external, right? So it has very specific purposes. Blood coagulant, moving the blood, reducing fevers. You know,
It's
so
not
it's
for living
not
on.
for
Yeah, not
yeah,
for
it's not
putting
for
in a
living
salad.
on and eating. It's a first aid herbal. It's an herb. It's an herb. It's not an edible plant,
Right.
right? It's medicinal.
That's it.